Coming in on a Sunday morning where full of children's noises and chatter fills the hallway. Standing there as a 15-year-old, wearing no idea whether I was mature enough or old enough to handle such errands and tasks. Whether that is focusing on the front desk of the school or being even passing out worksheets at a class. 3 years ago, I decided to volunteer at a local Chinese school. Ironically, that was the Chinese school where I graduated from, where I spent hours and years of my life studying Chinese. Yet I decided to go back and volunteer as a volunteer, where I wondered if I could give back to my community and learn back from what I was taught. I signed up not only to give volunteer hours, but rather to give back to my community and teach the culture that I was once taught to the younger kids. I always thought I would be passing out worksheets or just welcoming new people from the front desk. However, I became more than that. I became a mentor and a role model to the younger kids. Throughout the time, I built relationships with the students who struggled to finish homework, struggled to even show up to class, or even was too shy to even pay attention or participate in class due to making mistakes around her peers. Instead of implementing the idea of you having to do well and get 100% on every single test, I rather give advice to be persistent in your hard work, and the letter grade is just a little thing of your life rather than what you're taught and what you bring outside school to your future generations. One student in particular caught my eye though. He would always come to me every week with struggles and telling me all his struggles about not wanting to finish homework, not wanting to show up to class, or even struggling to understand what the teacher was saying. However, this was the one thing that I feel like referenced back to me. I grew up as a kid like that. I did not want to spend my years and my free weekends teaching and doing homework and going to Chinese school on the weekends. That is something I did not want to do growing up. However, as I grew up and became more mature, I realized that's something that benefited me a lot in ways that I learned so much from the culture, and that was something I was able to bring back as I grew older. However, one thing I remember specifically was my last year of volunteering, where he came up to me one day and showed me his final exam paper where he got 100%. I remember him giving me a little gift and saying, "Thank you for never giving up on me, and thank you for persisting me and forcing me to continue to come back," and he learned so much from it. That alone itself taught me a lot of what a small event like volunteering could do to your life. Not only was he happy with his sport, but he also learned so much more than just another grade. He was understanding the culture behind where he grew up and what his family grew up with. Of course, volunteering was not easy. It took a lot of time, effort, and patience to deal with. However, throughout that time, I also learned patience, communication, and resilience and responsibility that I now carry as a young adult. These little aspects of being able to have communication skills with all ages, learning to work with others, having patience, responsibility, and persistence taught a lot of something that I carried throughout college and my now adulthood and workforce. And that's something